Well, they had a reconciliation meeting yesterday, and well, we got a word, an assurance from Dr. Okupe that in less than 48 hours, well, 24 from now, well, the nation will get to hear and know the true state of this particular correspondence between the presidency and the CBN governor on the NNPC on remitted $49.8 billion. Joining us to look at that particular matter this morning is Honourbale Dakuku Peterside. He's the chairman, House Committee on Petroleum Resources, Downstream. He's with us from our Abuja studios. Good morning and thanks for joining us. You've been following this particular developments. Tell us your thoughts on this. Well, if you can hear us, Honourable Peterside, well, we would want to know what you know about this allegation from the CBN against the NNPC. I think we're having some connection problems. Well, he can barely hear us. Well, we'll get back to you as soon as it's sorted out. Well, for those just joining us, we had a talk with Dr. Okupe on this particular matter yesterday, and he did assure us after the meeting with between the NNPC and the CBN that it will be resolved. He also gave assurance that it will not be swept under the carpet, and we're hoping to do a follow-up on that and wait for the government to tell the nation exactly what it is about this alleged 49.8 billion naira. Well, for some, they have decided to tell the nation the accounts that well, the CBN should have actually focused on, and also let them in on what they would want to call other agencies and parastatals that should also be remitting some of those monies to the federal government. Case in point has to do with the FIRS, which hasn't actually spoken on this particular matter. Well, we're still hoping to hear from FIRS as well as those other agencies being mentioned in this particular matter. But for the NNPC, they have said, well, we have stated our own side of the story, and we're done with that, and we're hoping to also hear from the CBN. Till this moment, we still haven't actually heard from the CBN, and they say, well, they're not ready to join issues. They've said it the way it is. For those who still think that they don't know anything about the accounting on this particular matter, well, let's look into the books. Well, I hope we should be able by now to have sorted that out. Let's go back to our Abuja studios where Dakuku Peterside, a member and chairman, House Committee on Petroleum Resources, Downstream, is. Well, we're looking at this particular matter. Honourable Peterside, tell us your thoughts when you first heard this particular correspondence from the CBN.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, viewers.
Good morning, viewers.
Thank you, Suleiman.
Thank you.
We got the letter. I got a copy of the letter from CBN to the president.
I got a copy of the letter from CBN to the president.
And the letter for me raised three fundamental issues with wider implications. The first fundamental issue he raised is the fact that, well, I won't call it a fact. The first fundamental issue he raised is, can we earn more from petroleum profit tax and related taxes than we earn from the sale of crude oil itself? That's issue number one. Issue number two, is it possible that CBN, which is the banker to government, monetary authority of the federation, banker to NNPC, and chief economic advisor to the nation, not have basic statistics about on the volume of crude oil exported out of this country every day, every month, and every year, even when it's in custody of pre-shipment inspection documents. The third issue he raised is the issue of Nigerian Exports Service Scheme, the unremitted funds by NNPC. But the wider implication is that for the first time, an authority of government is beginning to question the opaque transactions of the NNPC. You will recall that in the past, 90, the International Network on Transparency has raised issues about unremitted funds by the NNPC. You will also recall that in the recent past, the National Assembly of Nigeria, which is constitutionally empowered to expose corruption, expose wastages and leakages, had in the past also raised issues about unremitted funds by NNPC. You will recall that not too long ago, the Nigerian Governors Forum raised issues about the opaque conduct of its business by the NNPC, which is indeed the corporation of government manning the oil and gas sector. These different agencies had raised these issues in the past, but it has not gotten the deserved attention. If the CBN later has achieved nothing else, for once, he had called to question the way NNPC conducts its business, and at the highest level of government, coming from the Monetary Authority of the Federation, it has raised awareness among Nigerians that there are questions to be asked. There is need for us to pay more attention to how NNPC conducts its business on our behalf. It's not conducting that business on behalf of itself. NNPC is manning the oil and gas industry in trust for the Nigerian people. Another implication of that is that if we can be looking for 49.8 billion US dollars, which is the equivalent of 3 years budget, we don't need to look for why our economic development is stagnated. There is no country that does not manage its natural resources properly and that expects to develop. You can understand why other countries that were at the same point where we were in 1960 had far gone, made a lot of progress, economic progress, better than us. The reason is simple. They have managed their economic resources better than we do, than we are managing our own. And so for me, if the CBN later does not achieve anything, it's beginning to question the way NNPC transacts its business. It's beginning to call the attention of Nigerians to ask fundamental questions. It's beginning to call for government to be more prudent in the management of resources and block all available leakages so the Nigerian people will be better for it. For me, that is a fundamental shift